Welcome back. All right, so 6 games in the National Hockey League tonight. This review would have been probably done, but we had to get overtime in a shootout in California because that's how California rolls. So that being said, there are some surprising results tonight, which is always welcome. I like surprising results, so I went with a surprising hat. What you're looking for is, hey, that's a really fantastic looking hat, to which I would answer, yeah, kind of sort of is. And it totally matches the jersey, right? Sure it does. Yeah. Okay. All right. First up, Nashville in against Florida. And, I said in the preview this morning, it felt like a game where you might see an upset, right? So Nashville came into this one on a 4-game losing streak. Really needed to turn things around. Florida, the pressure is not on Florida. And so it's understandable you're going to have some down games here and there. So, although they did outshoot Nashville pretty handedly, but Riddick, am I right? So it's Riddick against Bobrovsky. Early press by the Panthers, some puck pressure and forechecking by Florida, just being Panthers. The shots were 6-2 for them at 5 minutes. They end up getting a power play shortly thereafter, and at 6:45, Reinhart scores from Huberdeau and Duclair. That's 1-0. And the Panthers press for another. So it's all Panthers in the first half. This is your standard Florida Panthers at home. They're going to steamroll game, right? Josi has a blast that was blocked as the Preds then press back, and then they get the goal. It's Forsberg from Duchesne and Carrier at 12:06. Now, this was only the 5th shot for Nashville, 2-11 for Florida. So you could see, Nashville looking for the steal here. Lomberg's then denied next shift. The Predators get a power play. That was pretty easily killed off. Good second half, though, for the Preds, and it's 1-1 after 1. Second period. Josi takes a puck to the neck, but he was okay. Gudas then scores his first of the season from Reinhart at 1:54. That was through a screen, and it restores the lead for Florida. Panthers press next shift. Bennett's denied, and we're back to all Panthers again. It's just Florida, right? Barkov can't bury in a rush. The shots are 10-4 in favor of Florida at 7.5 minutes. And then Ekblad buries one at 9:42. So it's 3-1. Florida, it's done, right? Nope. Nashville comes back. It's Josi from Duchesne and Forsberg at 10:44. Just blasted home. And then Trennan with a backhand top corner from Fabro at 11:21. So very quickly, that quiets down the crowd and ties up the game. Predators have a power play with 5:30 left. That's killed off. There were too many Preds on the ice, so Florida gets power play after that. That's killed off. Riddick, pretty busy in that second period. He does allow a couple of goals, but he faced a lot of shots, so understandable. Third period, Hornqvist has a backhand that's saved. The shots are 2-0 for Florida at 4.5 minutes. And then Bennett scores. He scores from Huberdeau and Weegar at 8 minutes and 11 seconds. The Predators come right back and score pretty much immediately. And there's a goalie interference challenge on it. And sure enough, they declare that it's no goal. So I believe that was a Cunnin goal that gets taken back. And so you could see Florida has a lead. Nashville scores. The goal doesn't count. We've seen storylines like this. And then the Panthers get a power play, which means they're probably going to score, right? Nope. It's actually Jeannot scores shorthanded at 10:41. So that ties up the game. With 5:48 left, the Predators then get a power play, and they score on it. It doesn't take them very long either. Granlund scores from Forsberg and Josi at 14:29. The Panthers did try to answer, down by 1 at this point. Goalie pull with 3 minutes left. Weegar blocks an empty net goal, but then Jeannot hits the empty net at 18:28. And that makes the score 6-4 for Nashville. That's your final. Nashville 29-18-4. They stopped their 4-game losing streak. Florida, their 3-game winning streak comes to an end. They're 35-11-5 overall. The shots in this one, 14-13 Florida in the first, 20-13 Florida in the second, 14-7 Florida in the third. Final shots, 48-33 for Florida. Both power plays were 1 for 3 hits, 34-26 for Nashville. Riddick saves 44 out of 48. Bobrovsky saves 27 out of 32. Nashville goes in. They steal 2 points out of Florida. They become one of 4 teams. Well, I know there's 4 losses now for Florida at home, so I assume there's 4 different teams that have done it to Florida, and so that's a rarity. And now they're done with Florida for the year, I believe. Right? All right. I don't have the preview board in front of me. Normally I do, but I don't have that in front of me right now. So I'm looking at the power rankings board, which tells me nothing. All right. Moving along. Columbus at home against Toronto. So Columbus on the hottest streak they've been on this season, and it's starting to roll in their favor. And for Toronto, they came into this one with a couple of losses, looking for a win. It was a pretty good game. Campbell versus Berube. JF Berube is arguing himself into a job here. The argument for, Korpisalo might be on the block and all this, yeah, the way Berube's playing, you could make him the backup right now, and I don't think anybody'd complain. Lyubushkin's debut for Toronto. Mixed bag for Lyubushkin in his debut, which can be expected. Brand new team and all that. Early Columbus wraparound, that wouldn't go. Matthews fires one wide as the Leafs press. Gauntz can't bury on a turnovers. Brendan Gauntz is playing the best hockey in his NHL career. Marner with a net feed tips it wide. Jenner with a rush. He fires wide. Leafs get a power play. Matthews hits a crossbar. That's killed off. Not long after, at 12:50, Bunting. He scores from Marner and Matthews, and so at 12:50 it becomes 1-0 Toronto. And Toronto, 21-4-1 when scoring first. So scoring first has, for this season, been very important for Toronto. The Leafs have a 2-on-1. Spets is denied. Laine's denied the other way. Columbus would press after that. With 1:05 left, the Leafs get a power play, and Matthews is denied before the period's out. So we go to the second. There's a kill. Then Columbus gets a power play. Doesn't matter. It's all killed off. Shots are 5-2 for the Leafs at 5 minutes. Matthews has a chance that's saved and held. And then Laine, who has been red hot, he gets his 11th goal in 9 games from Jenner at 6:13. It was posted in. It was a beautiful goal. Leafs get a power play. Marner's shot was saved. That's killed off. But then Matthews answers Laine. So remember the Matthews-Laine thing back before the draft? Well, it's back. Kampf and Bunting with the assists at 15-23. And for Matthews, that's 9 goals in 10 games. So Matthews is scoring at a very high pace as well. Columbus gets a power play with 11 seconds left, so that rolls over into the third period. And Columbus scores on it. It's Boquist with his 10th of the year from Berube at 1:05. So the goaltender with an assist as well. And suddenly, the game is tied at 2. And it was kind of an out-of-nowhere play. Pretty passive defense on that one, too, by the Leafs. The Leafs did press for an answer. Engvall nearly buries one. Then there's a press by the Leafs as well at 5.5 minutes. But a fast break goal on a turnover and shoots at 5-hole. It's Brendan Gauntz at 7:13. Yeah, Gauntz on the board yet again. That's, I believe, his 3rd goal in 7 games with Columbus. It's a good story. Again, former first-rounder for the Canucks who's bounced around the league, written off as a bust. And, he gets the leading goal for Columbus to make it 3-2. Columbus presses then at 9 minutes. The Leafs would then press. Matthews denied during that. There's a Columbus 3-on-2. Chinakhov can't bury during that. Matthews has a blast that's blocked. The Leafs would press again. Spezza scores. Was it a kicking motion? It counts. So, at 17:54, Spezza scores from Matthews and Tavares. Columbus didn't challenge it. They might have thought about it, but they didn't challenge it. Last shift, pressed by the Leafs, but we go to overtime. In the overtime, Columbus gets control of the puck on the faceoff, and we'll never know what Toronto might have done with it because Columbus buries it. It's Laine with his 12th goal in 9 games. He scores from Voracek and Werenski at 20 seconds. When Laine's hot, he is absolutely red hot. So Columbus wins this one 4-3. It feels like a big deal for them, right? They go to 26-23-1 with the overtime win. Toronto drops to 32-14-4 with the overtime loss. The shots in this one, 14-10 Columbus in the first, 17-5 Toronto in the second, 15-10 Toronto in the third, and in the overtime, the shots were 1-0 for Columbus. Shots 42-30 for Toronto, so Toronto got goalied. Again, power plays, Toronto 0-3, Columbus 1-2. Hits 24-11 for Columbus. Campbell saves 26 out of 30. Berube saves 39 out of 42. Look pretty good. So, yeah, for Toronto, it's back to the drawing board. And for Columbus, they've won 8 of their last 11. Maybe they're not as out of this as they might have looked, say, 11 games ago. Either way, it's a good story. We want to see somebody in the East heat up so that it's not all decided before the trade deadline, right? And why not Columbus? All right, next up. Minnesota goes in against the Ottawa Senators tonight. And, it's kind of a trap game. It's not the only trap game on the board either. So it's Talbot versus Forsberg. And at 2:09 on the first shot for Ottawa, it's in the net. It's Chabot from Zub and Tierney. Senators then press after. So Senators get off to a fast start. Greenway then has a net drive that's defended. The Wild get a power play. Eriksson Ek had a tip that was saved. Forsberg, pretty sharp. Then there's a shorthanded break for Paul. That was saved, but in essence, they kill off the rest of that penalty. Wild go right back to the power play. Hartman puts a puck in after the whistle. You don't do that. It's killed off. Sens let him know you don't do that. Goudreau has a net drive that wouldn't go. The Sens get a power play. This one they score on. So it's the first power play goal they've had in a while. It's Tkachuk from Chabot and Connor Brown at 17:05. Bukestad then had a net feed that wouldn't go. It's 2-0 for Ottawa after one. Surprise, surprise. Second period. Early press by the Senators. The Wild get a power play. Foligno can't bury one as it comes to an end. But then Fiala puts Minnesota on the board from Kulikov and Bukestad at 6:31. Boldy then fires one wide on a turnover. The Wild gets some pressure after that. Senators then get a power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Sturm that was saved. That power play is killed off. And then at 12:40, Minnesota ties it. It's Spurgeon from Hartman at 12:40. And, again, Minnesota looking for some momentum. But at 16:22, Ottawa goes back into the lead. It's Stützle from Josh Brown and Connor Brown. So both Browns combine on that one. And so suddenly Minnesota's back into it. The Wild did press to answer. Last minute, Hartman had a chance that was blocked. It's 3-2 Ottawa after two. Third period. Boldy has a rush chance that's saved, and then a goal's credited to Merrill at 4:32. That ties up the game. So Minnesota has once again tied it. Sens get a power play. That was killed off. It had 3 shots on goal. Pressed by the Sens after it ends. Kaprizov with a rush chance that's saved. And then Chabot. Now keep in mind, Chabot's been out for a bit. This is his first game back. Not bad. He scores from Gaudette and Brandstrom at 14:15. So Chabot with 2 goals and an assist tonight. And that puts Ottawa ahead 4-3. Sens get a power play with 3:24 left. That was killed off. The Wild do pull the goaltender with a minute left. And then Forsberg just finishes it. So your final score is 4-3, with Forsberg making last moment saves to preserve that win. For the Senators, they're 19-26-5 with the win. With the loss, Minnesota 31-14-3. Shots 13-11 Ottawa in the first, 19-8 Minnesota in the second, 13 shots apiece in the third. Final shots 43-34 for Minnesota. Power plays, Minnesota 0 for 3, Ottawa 1 for 4. Hits 30-17 for Ottawa. Talbot saves 30 out of 34. Forsberg saves 40 out of 43. So Forsberg played pretty well. Minnesota outshoots their opponent, they lose. Toronto outshoots their opponent, they lose. Florida outshoots their opponent, they lose. So what happened in the other game that's on this board? Let's go ahead and jump right into it. So St. Louis goes in against Philly. We got a trap, we got a trap, we got a trap. Nope. Philly just can't get it done. So it's Binnington versus Jones. And I mentioned in the preview today that it felt like, in the news video today, it felt like the fact that Binnington was starting today, it's important he gets a win over Philadelphia, who really don't beat anybody. So early chances for the Blues, pretty evenly played though through 7 minutes. In fact, at 8 minutes, the shots are 6-5 for St. Louis. So it's a pretty even start. And then Kyrou hits a post, and shortly thereafter, Shen scores from Barbashev and Kyrou at 10:50, right under the bar in the net. Blues then look for another. Pressed by the Blues with 5.5 minutes left. Binnington pretty sharp thus far in the game. Sanheim fires one wide on the rush. Flyers then press, and it's 1-0 St. Louis after the first period. Second period, Blues early press. Thomas was denied. The shots are 7-3 for the Blues. 7.5 minutes in. So again, the Blues playing very well. Willman has a rush chance that's saved. O'Reilly was then denied. Jones covers shortly thereafter. Blues get a power play. Shen has a blast that saved. That power play is killed off. Flyers press with 2 minutes left. With 1.5 minutes left, we get a power play for Philadelphia. Yandel has a blast that's saved. Frost was on the first unit too. It's a good sign Morgan Frost playing on the first unit. JVR is a net feed that wouldn't go. That power play rolls over into the third. In the third, the Blues do in fact finish the kill. Flyers press after. Binnington makes saves there. Lindblom misses one high. The shots are 3-0 for the Flyers at 5 minutes. Pressed by the Flyers then at 6.5 minutes, and eventually they get a goal out of it. Lindblom scores from Sanheim and Konechny at 8:09. It's a tie game, not for long. At 8:51, it's Tarasenko, and he just buries one from Thomas and Mikkola. So It's tied for 42 seconds, and then St. Louis gets the lead back. The Flyers press for an answer with 5:02 left. The Flyers get a power play. So this is where you have to tie it up. We get a shorthanded 3-on-2 that fizzles for St. Louis. The power play is killed off. They pull the goalie in the final 2 minutes. Provorov has a shot saved on a deflection, and then Barbashev hits the empty net from Sundqvist and Mikkola at 19:07. They would pull the goaltender again, down by 2. Saad hits the empty net at 19:53. Your final score is 4-1. St. Louis goes to 30, 14, and 6. Philadelphia drops to 15, 26, and 10. So 15, 26, and 10 is not the kind of record I think Philadelphia wanted at the start of the year, but it's the one they've got for now. Shots, 10 apiece in the first, 11-7 St. Louis in the second, 9-5 Philly in the third. Both teams had 26 shots. Power plays, St. Louis 0 for 1, Philadelphia 0 for 2. Hits, 22-16 for Philadelphia. Binnington, 25 saves on 26 shots. Jones saves 22 out of 24. Not on Martin Jones tonight. It's just, it wasn't Philly's night. But when is it Philly's night? All right, that being said, I do need to change boards. All right, next up, San Jose in against Anaheim. And this is the one that went long. This is the one that caused me to say, well, I could be here all night. Because sometimes with the California games, that happens. So it's Reimer versus Stolarz in this one. Early chances for the Ducks. Eventually one of them goes in. It's Derek Grant scoring from Carrick and Delorier at 3:38. So that fourth line produces as it has been known to do. It's a very good fourth line for the Ducks. Sharks try to answer. There was a power play for the Sharks. Pretty strong penalty kill, though, by the Ducks on that. The Sharks did press after it ended, and eventually San Jose ties the game. It's Couture from Burns at 7:10. That was the 7th shot for San Jose. The Ducks only had 2. They hadn't had a shot yet since that goal on the second shot by Grant. So, San Jose getting a lot of opportunities. Delorier had a rush chance that was saved. Later in the period at 17:22, San Jose goes into the lead. It's Burns from Nieto and Meyer. So it makes it 2-1 for San Jose. Stolarz wasn't set on that one. Stolarz would absolutely want that one back. Delorier throwing some hits late, and then Gadjevich doesn't appreciate it, so he has a fight with Delorier. Pretty good fight between the two of them, too. So it's 2-1 San Jose after 1. Second period, Drysdale is a blast that's saved and held. We get a power play for the Ducks. The Sharks wouldn't let them set up. The Ducks were pretty stymied. There weren't any really good looks during that power play. The shots are 5-1 for Anaheim at 5 minutes. Myers denied then on a break. The Ducks press at 6.5 minutes, and eventually, on a face-off win after that press, they get a goal. It's Raquel from Zegras and Fowler at 7 minutes. For Raquel, that's 5 goals in 6 games. Raquel's one of those guys, too, that he gets hot, gets on a roll, he puts up a bunch of goals. So we'll see whether or not Raquel gets moved at the deadline, because he's starting to put up goals, which makes him a more attractive target for teams who are looking to add for a playoff run. But again, for the Ducks, they're also fashioning themselves as a possible playoff team. They're not going to want to sell them off and not get something back in terms of a player who can play for them right now. So then the Ducks press for the lead. Power play for Anaheim. That was killed off. Gregor is robbed on a cross-ice chance. We get a 4-minute Sharks power play. The first 2 minutes are killed off. During the second 2 minutes, Couture scores from Burns and Meyer at 13:44. So that puts San Jose back into the lead. That lasts until 16:09 when Raquel gets a goal, his second of the period, from Henrique. And so on a face-off win by Henrique, Raquel ends up burying it. So that's another one of those set plays on a face-off. Lundestrom then nearly adds one. With 1:56 left, the Ducks end up getting themselves a power play. 4 seconds rolls over into the third, so you can tell it got killed off. Raquel has a chance for a hat trick. That's held on to. The shots were 2-0 for the Ducks at 4 minutes as they tried to break the tie. Sharks get a power play. That's killed off. San Jose presses at around the 9.5-minute mark. Dzingle's denied his first goal as a Shark. He didn't get it, but he got close. Terry was down on a hit from Shemek. The Ducks end up coming out of that with a power play. I agree with Brian Hayward that was a tough one. Terry turned his back at the absolute last second. So is it a cross check? Is it a board? Probably. But again, Terry there was no way that Shemek could hold up on that hit. Sharks killed it off though. Hurdle's then denied with 2.5 minutes left. Burns ends up hitting a post with 1:30 left. Delorier couldn't hit a buzzer beater. We go to overtime. The overtime, the Ducks control it early. Dzingle draws a Ducks penalty at 28 seconds. Hurdle has a tip that misses. They end up killing it off. So the overtime was all San Jose, but Stolars did a good job of killing it off. And then in the shootout, Stolars doesn't allow a goal. First, it's Zegras that scores, and then Raquel scores as well. Anaheim wins this one in a shootout 4-3. They go to 25-19-9. San Jose 22-22-6. So again, for San Jose, this is another blow to any hope they have of making the playoffs. Shots 13-7 San Jose in the first, 14 shots each in the second. Shots 9-8 in the third in favor of San Jose. 7 shots in overtime, all San Jose's. Final shots 43-29 for the Sharks. Sharks go 1 for 5 on the power play. Anaheim 0 for 4. Hits 26-20 for San Jose. So they outshot them, they outhit them, and they lose it in the shootout. Reimer saves 26 out of 29. Stolar saves 40 out of 43. So it's another game where the team that has the most shots doesn't win the game. So yeah, interesting. And for the Ducks, this was a really important 2 points, because they're looking at teams in the West getting better, and they don't want to end up falling further behind. So they get the 2 points to keep pace. All right, next up, and last up, the Islanders in against Seattle. Seattle's really in a nosedive, and it's tough to measure that since the record wasn't great before the nosedive, but it feels like it's getting worse. If you're a Seattle fan, let me know if it feels like it's getting worse. It does. So Sorokin versus Grubauer. This was game number 1651 for Chara, which is a lot. And it ties Chris Chelios for the all-time lead amongst defensemen with games played. So the next game played by Zdeno Chara will put him at number 1 all-time amongst defensemen. Shots are 2-0 for the Islanders at 3.5 minutes. At 5.5 minutes, they press as well. Sheahan has a rush. Aho defends on that one. Sheahan doesn't even get to the net. Geekie has a backhand shot that's saved and held. At 8:53, Brock Nelson opens the scoring for the Islanders from Beauvillier and Pulock. The shots were then 8-3 for the Islanders at the halfway mark. So the Islanders were just sharper. And the crowd was pretty quiet because Seattle wasn't giving them a lot to cheer about early. Eberle has a rush chance that's blocked. Palmieri has a chance to deflect out. Pulock has a chance that's saved and held onto. The Islanders score, but it's waved off for goalie interference. So Barry Trotz says, I don't think that was goalie interference. He challenges it. The referee looks and goes, yep, goalie's outside the crease. Not goalie interference. So the goal counts. It's Parise from Dobson and Barzal at 17-18. Geekie then clears out a third goal that, if that had gone in, probably would have ended it in the first period. But it's 2-0 Islanders after 1. Second period, the Kraken had a 2-on-1 that misfired. Seattle went with 1 shot over about a 17-minute period. Then McCann would get a shot to make it, I guess, 2 in 18 minutes. It was a rush chance that was saved. And then at 5:34, Palmieri scores from Parise, and that makes it 3-0. The Islanders press at 8 minutes. Eventually, they get another goal. It's Zizekas from Mayfield at 10:33. To their credit, Seattle answers, but they're down 4-0 when they answer. It's Yanni Gourde from Yarncroke at 11:18. Johansson's then denied. The Kraken would press after that. Seattle presses again with 6 minutes left. There's a goal line stand by Sorokin shortly after that. Seattle presses with 2 minutes left, but again, while they had a decent second half of that period, they're down 4-1 after 2 periods. Third period, early press by Seattle, and then there's a weird bounce off the boards. Dobson goes to put it on the boards, and it bounces up towards the net, and Sheahan grabs the loose puck and puts it in the net at 1:35. Nobody had any idea where that was going to go. Sheahan didn't either. He just saw an opportunity to put that in. So that makes it 4-2. Gourde then has a chance that's kicked out. There's a near miss for Geekie as Seattle sees some daylight here, and fans started getting into it. 13:06 left. The Islanders get the game's first power play. Doesn't last very long, though. We get 1 minute and 26 seconds of 4-on-4 as the Islanders take a penalty as well. Everything's killed off there. That's the only power plays of the game. Alexiak had a shot blocked as Seattle presses. Bellows had a rush chance that was defended. Geekie with a rush chance fires high. I don't know how many times Geekie slammed his stick. It was a couple. I don't know if he broke one or not. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. It's been a frustrating season for Morgan Geekie. The opportunities have been there. The finish has not been. Zarnik has a chance that's blocked. Of course, Zarnik, former Islander, would have loved to get a goal against his former team. Goalie pull with more than 3 minutes left because they're down by a couple. And Parise hits the empty net from Chara at 18:02. So Zdeno Chara with an assist in his 1,651st game. And for the Islanders, that's just icing on the cake. They win this one 5-2. They go to 19-20-7 with the win. Now they go through California on their road trip. For Seattle, 16-33-4. It's been a miserable season, continues to be that. Shots, 13-4 Islanders in the first, 14-11 Islanders in the second, 10-9 Seattle in the third. Final shots, 36-25 for the Islanders. Power plays, both teams 0 for 1, as I said. Hits, 20-19 for Seattle. Sorokin saves 23 out of 25. Grubauer, 31 saves on 35 shots. I don't know where to start with what's gone wrong with Seattle at this point. It's kind of sort of everything. And so, earlier we could maybe point at the goaltending, maybe point at the defense. At this point, it's just kind of sort of, it's all falling apart. They've lost 5 in a row in regulation now. And maybe if Montreal keeps winning games, maybe we see Seattle with the best chances of drafting first come draft lottery time. Could happen. All right, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.